Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today let's make a reverse dyed shirt. The shirt that I'm using is a long sleeve George brand shirt, which I purchased in the men's department at Walmart. This one is kind of like a dark burgundy color. I have the shirt turned inside out, and I'm going to begin by centering the shirt. I've sped the video up quite a bit, but down below in the description for this video is a link to another video which shows a slower version of how to center a shirt. Essentially what I'm doing is getting both sides of the front of the shirt right up next to each other and both sides of the back of the shirt right up next to each other. That way, whenever I apply the dye or use the color remover or anything else that I'm going to do to the shirt, both sides of the front of the shirt are going to look more symmetrical and similar, and the same thing with the back. Now that the shirt is centered, I need to draw the arc on the shirt, which I'm going to fan fold to make the double fan fold. I'm using a washable marker and I'm making myself a mark just a little bit below the armpit of the shirt. You can actually start your fan fold wherever you want. You can do it up higher, lower. It's just a personal preference thing. I'm using an old piece of sinew and the washable marker to draw the arc on the shirt. I'm going to fan fold this line and then I'm going to tie it with some sinew. I'm choosing to use sinew because whenever I tie a sinew line on the shirt and I tighten it down as tight as I can get it, that is not going to allow the color remover or the dye underneath that line, so that part of the shirt is going to remain this burgundy color. Once I have the initial line tied, I'm going to put a couple more sinew lines going out toward the center of this fan fold, and then continue the fan folds on the other side of this initial line and tie some sinew lines there as well. I used a few metal clips to hold my fan folds in place while I was tying. I forgot to mention that I tucked one sleeve inside of the other sleeve. So both of the sleeves are together, and I'm going to just fan fold them into the rest of the shirt. After I finished tying the shirt, I set it aside for about a day and allowed it to dry out just a little bit. The White Brite saturates or gets to the center of these folds a little bit better if the shirt isn't too damp. So the product that I'm going to use to remove the color is White Brite Laundry Whitener, and I normally find mine on the laundry aisle at Walmart. It's usually by the bleach products, even though it's not a bleach product and it's not going to damage the fabric, and it doesn't have to be neutralized in any way the way bleach does. It's intended to kind of bring some life back to white items that have maybe gotten a little bit dingy, and I've used it for that purpose and it works great, but it also works great as a color remover. I'm going to do this process outside because the White Brite does have a smell and I don't want the fumes inside. I'm also wearing my respirator for this entire process because I don't want to inhale any of the fumes or any of the powdered White Brite. I have several different shirts that I'm going to remove the color from all at the same time. So I've placed them inside of a metal tub or tote and I'm liberally sprinkling the White Brite over the top. After I get the White Brite on top of the items, I'm going to take a pot of boiling hot water and pour it over the top of the White Brite. I haven't sped this part of the video up so you can see the minute the boiling hot water touches the White Brite, it starts to foam and bubble and immediately remove the color. From here, I'm going to go ahead and speed the video up, but I went ahead and added a little bit more White Brite and another pot of boiling hot water to this container because I want the items to be all the way down in the solution. I left the shirt for probably about 20 minutes before I took them to my utility sink and I rinsed them in cold water to try to rinse out some of the White Brite. Then I left the shirts tied and I put them into my washing machine and washed them using a little bit of Dharma's Professional Textile Detergent. You can use any water temperature cycle you want. You can use hot, warm, cold. It really doesn't matter. But washing the shirts after using the White Brite will remove part of that solution and it will also help get part of the smell out. When they came out of the washing machine, I put them inside of a soda ash solution and allowed them to soak for about 20 to 30 minutes. Anything that has been reverse dyed like this will normally leak a little bit of color into the soda ash solution. I don't like for my main soda ash solution to have any of that color in it, so I usually keep a separate bucket which I use for reverse dyed items and items that have previously been dyed. Here again, I left the shirt tied for this entire process. Then I wrung it out of my Panda spin dryer and put it aside for a couple of days to dry out a little bit. If you want to know why I like to dye thicker folds and stuff like this when they're dry, I have a blog post out on my website, and I have a link to my website down below in the description for this video. Essentially, it's because I get better color saturation when the shirt is dry instead of when it's damp. I'm going to incline ice dye this shirt, so I've placed it inside of a piece of vinyl guttering, and then to make sure the shirt doesn't slide all the way down in the muck, which, if you're not familiar with the term muck, it is when the ice melts and mixes with the dye, that's called muck. So to keep the shirt from sliding all the way down into the muck, I'm going to tie a piece of kite string around the end of it, and then attach the piece of kite string to the end of the piece of guttering with one of the little clips that I used when I tied the shirt. Because the shirt is dry, I'm going to spray it with a little bit of soda ash solution that I have down inside of a spray bottle. This will help the dye to stick to the top of the shirt a little better. I'm going to apply a dye color to each one of the sections of the shirt. And because I have more sections than I do have dye colors, I'm going to repeat part of the colors. I'm using Balsam Fir from Pro Chemical, Amber Waves from Dharma, Sage Green from Dharma, Marigold from Dharma, Olive Drab from Pro Chemical, Curry from Pro Chemical, and Havana Brown from Pro Chemical. Now I'm going to add an additional sprinkle of soda ash over the top of the dye and add on a layer of ice. Right now, I still have the shirt laying flat on my table. I haven't inclined it yet because I think it's easier to go ahead and add the ice on the shirt while it's still laying flat. I can kind of press it down into the fabric a little bit. To incline the shirt, I have a plastic tote that has taller sides, and I'm going to place one end of the piece of vinyl guttering into that tote, and I'm going to leave the other end hanging over the edge. That's going to put the shirt at probably about a 45-degree incline. I'm going to add a little bit more ice and touch up the ice on my shirt, and then I'm going to set the shirt aside and allow the ice to melt. After the first layer of ice melted, I still had quite a bit of undissolved dye left sitting on top, so I added a second layer of ice and allowed it to melt as well. Then I left the shirt and allowed it to process for about 24 to 36 hours after the second layer of ice melted. I rinsed the shirt like normal. I started rinsing in cold water to rinse out the soda ash. I untied the shirt, warmed the water up to hot, and continued rinsing in hot water to rinse out the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. I did the normal soaking process by adding a little bit of Blue Dawn dish detergent and really hot water either to my sink or to a plastic container and just allowing the shirt to soak. When the water cooled off, I changed it out and continued that soaking process until the water was almost clear. Then I put the shirt and some Dharma's professional textile detergent into my washing machine, and I washed it using a hot water cycle. Okay, so let's see what it looks like after it's been washed and dried. Okay, so what do you guys think? I think this one turned out really pretty. I love the color combination. I've gotten a lot more daring about using yellow, and I'm really glad that I have. I think that the yellow and the green look great together on this shirt. And I think that the combination looks really good with the dark red too. I was kind of going for more of a fall, natural, more earthy look on this shirt. You know, if this shirt would have started out white, I probably would not have put like yellow and green and burgundy together on this shirt. I might have. I mean, I've kind of used those colors together before, but I'm a lot more daring to use them on a reverse dyed shirt because your colors aren't going to mix and make brown. So the green and the red wouldn't mix together and make brown because the red is like already in the shirt. So that's something to keep in mind if maybe you have somebody who wants, say, a purple and yellow shirt together. Either get a yellow shirt and do a reverse dye on it, or a purple shirt and do a reverse dye on it. And then the odds of you ending up with brown are pretty low on a shirt like that. I mean, that's assuming that whatever color shirt you're reverse dyeing, you can get the main part of the shirt where you remove the color light enough that your dye color is going to cover it without that shirt color being an influence. I didn't get a ton of dye movement on this shirt either, which is not surprising because it was pretty much tied with sinew. So I had sinew lines pretty close, which are going to stop or slow down some of that dye movement down the shirt. You know, whenever I do an incline twist, that's the nice thing about that design is there's nothing to stop the dye from moving from the top of the shirt all the way down the shirt. The same thing with a regular fan fold. If I just tied it with kite string, the kite string isn't going to really slow down the dye very much. The dye is going to be able to move all the way down the shirt with that design as well. With this one, the dye will move and then it kind of gets stuck in that little sinew bubble and then, maybe it moves a little further. This one, the dye stays a little bit more where you put it. I just went ahead and inclined it just for fun, but it doesn't show a huge effect from the incline. You see it a little bit more at the part of the shirt that was on the very top of the incline, like the fan fold area right underneath the armpits. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I ended up with some sort of a little, I don't know, it almost looks like a little monkey or a little lizard or some sort of little critter right in the middle of the shirt. Up toward kind of that second V is where the head starts, the little eyes and mouth, and those could either be ears like on a monkey and then the body. I don't know, it's a little critter in the shirt, both on the front and the back. I think it looks kind of cool in there. So I really like the shirt. I think it turned out looking really cool. I wish I would have added in a little bit more of the yellow tones. I added in quite a few that were green and you can't tell a huge difference between those. But I do think the design on the sleeves of the shirt looks really cool as well. But what do you guys think? Please drop me some comments down below and let me know. And if you've enjoyed watching me make this shirt, I sure would appreciate it if you would like the video. And if you're enjoying the content of my YouTube channel, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. And if you'll hit the bell, you'll receive notifications whenever I upload a new video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.